Hello everybody, we are going to be covering solving equations and writing equations in this video. And the example that we are going to start with is x minus 6 equals negative 10. We're going to follow these 3 steps in order to solve this equation. So step 1 is to isolate the variable. That's our goal. We want to get x by itself, but right now we have this minus 6 next to it. So in order to get x by itself, I need to do the inverse operation of minus 6. So the inverse of minus 6 would be plus 6. And remember, what you need to do to one side, you need to do to the other side in order to keep the equation balanced. So I added 6 to both sides. That leaves me with just x over here. And negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4. So x equals negative 4. Let's do it again with the next one. Negative 3 plus x equals 15. Again, our goal is to get x by itself. But right now, x, we're adding negative 3 to it. So the inverse of adding negative 3 would be subtracting negative 3. And I write that up here because subtracting negative 3 is the same as just plus 3. So really we can just add 3 to both sides. Negative 3 and positive 3 are 0. Those are inverse operations. I'm just left with x, and that equals 15 plus 3, which is 18. All right, our next one, we have negative 2x equals 14. And remember, the negative 2 next to the x means negative 2 times x. So the inverse operation to undo times negative 2 would be to divide negative 2 on both sides. So negative 2 divided by negative 2 is just 1x. And that equals negative 7. All right, and our last one over here, we have x divided by negative 4 equals negative 7. So again, our goal is to get x by itself. Right now we are dividing by negative 4, so to undo that, I will multiply by negative 4 on both sides. The inverse operations undo each other, which just leaves me with x, and x is equal to negative 7 times negative 4, which is positive 28. And that's it for solving one-step equations. Remember that you are able to double-check your answers by plugging in your answer back in for x. So for example, if x equals 18 here, if I plug it in for x, let's see if the equation holds true. Negative 3 plus 18 does equal 15, so we know that we got the correct answer. All right, next we're going to move on to writing one-step equations. So given a word problem, we'll create the equation and solve it. So the scenario that we're dealing with, it says you have some money in your bank account. You go to the store and spend $35 on a new hat. This is the new hat I would get because go Browns, woohoo. Your bank account now has negative $11. How much money did you originally have in your account? So the steps for writing our one-step equations, we first have to determine the unknown quantity and represent it with a variable. The unknown quantity is typically given to you in the last sentence. So we want to know how much money you originally have in your account. So let's represent that with a variable. I'm just going to say that x equals amount originally in your account. Next, we have to set up our equation by picking out the important pieces of information. So we don't know how much we had originally, but we know that we spent $35 of whatever we had. and that we ended up having a negative $11. So let's build our equation off of that. We started with, we don't know how much, but of that amount, we spent 35 of it, so we took away $35 of it, and after we did that, we ended up with negative $11. You may have thought of this in a different light. Maybe you just knew what to do with the numbers, and it's okay for you to set up another equation where the variable is already isolated. So maybe you thought, you end up with negative $11, but you initially had 35 more than that, and that's how you could also figure out how much you had originally. So either one of these equations are okay, and you end up doing the same thing. Let's go back to this equation. Right now, x is being subtracted by 35, so to undo that, I would need to add 35 to both sides. Negative 35 and positive 35 equals 0, so I'm just left with x over here, and negative 11 plus 35 gives me $24. So to get x, I had to do negative 11 plus 35, and that's all I need to do over here. Our answer is going to be whatever negative 11 plus 35 is, which we said was 24. All right, so that's all I have for you. Hopefully this helped with one-step equations, solving and writing them, and I'll see you later.